Market talk is rife that Disney Plus is coming to Malaysian shores very soon, following news that Disney is pulling out its TV channels in Southeast Asia and Hong Kong, including Malaysia. It is speculated that besides setting up its own platform here, the streaming provider will also have working relationships with platforms such as Astro Malaysia and Telekom Malaysia. When asked if TM is going to partner with Disney for the latter's streaming service, the group said in a text reply to The Edge that it applauds Disney's decision to move into the over-the-top space and that it will ensure that all its customers will continue to enjoy quality content on Unified TV that meets their entertainment needs. Meanwhile, Astro, when contacted on this, said, "Please wait for the official announcement." Several industry sources have said Astro is working towards a partnership with Disney Plus to have its streaming content on its platform. Astro already has some content from the US's HBO Go and China's iQIYI. An industry observer commented that it looks like Astro is attempting to be best in the streaming game by using its own platform to be an aggregator for streaming giants. The Health and Defence Ministries are in talks to set up field hospitals in Kelantan and Sarawak as talk of MCO 3.0 continues to swirl. Health Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Adam Baba said today there is a need to set up field hospitals to accommodate non-COVID-19 related cases. This will free up the critical and intensive care unit wards for the growing number of COVID-19 patients. Separately, Kelantan authorities reportedly said that the capacity of the state's hospital facilities and 6 low-risk quarantine and treatment centres has reached a critical level due to the spike in cases. Quoting Kelantan Local Government Housing and Health Committee Chairman Dr. Izani Hussein, Bernama reported that the ICUs in hospitals have reached almost 100% capacity and that over 2,000 patients are under a house isolation order due to insufficient beds at the quarantine centres. Malaysia has reported 417,512 COVID-19 infections after 2,500 new cases were detected today, mostly in Selangor, Kelantan and Sarawak. 18 deaths were reported, taking the death toll to 1,551. As for whether the government will be re-implementing the MCO, Nanyang Siangpao has it that Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin will only be announcing the decision tomorrow. The resurgence of COVID-19 in Malaysia threatens its economic recovery. OCBC Bank economist William Wiranto noted today that recent news reports have suggested that the government is considering a re-imposition of a targeted MCO in areas such as Selangor, Kuala Lumpur, Penang and Johor. While this has been refuted by Senior Minister Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, he said the evolving situation around Putrajaya's response amid the flare-up in infections merits a close watch. He added that this was particularly in the context of vaccination rates being low, with less than 2% of the population being fully inoculated. Williams said it is hoped that any new restriction orders can spare the bulk of economic activities. Still, he said the impact of any curbs will remain palpable, hurting the nascent recovery in business and consumer confidence into the second quarter. He also highlighted that Bank Negara is meeting this Thursday, and there is a small tail risk that the central bank might cut the key interest rate. The overnight policy rate currently stands at 1.75%. The FBM KLCI closed lower on selling pressure amid worries of another possible lockdown. The benchmark index finished 0.68% lower at 1,590.73. Broad-based selling across all sectors saw losers outnumbering gains by 3-1. Turnover totaled 6.68 billion shares, worth 4.24 billion ringgit. Malacca Securities senior research analyst Kenneth Leong said, investor sentiment sentiment was weak due to concerns over potential stricter movement restrictions. As for technology counters, he told The Edge, the stocks were down because investors were taking profit ahead of the Aidilfitri holidays. All but 3 of Bursa Malaysia's indices closed lower, with the technology index the worst hit, closing 1.73% lower at 84.28 points. This was followed by the FBM ACE, down 1.5% to 8,710.61, and the construction index, which dropped 1.5% to 182.29. Notable losers included Petronas Dagangan, Carlsberg Brewery Malaysia, Hartalega, Malaysian Pacific Industries, SKB Shutters Corp, Malaysia Airports Holdings and Aeon Credit Service Malaysia. Meanwhile, Transocean Holdings was the day's top gainer, surging 29.8% to close at a record high of RM5.18. Interest in the loss-making logistics company has been gaining pace after it said it was venturing into the cloud service management business. The Court of Appeal upheld a penalty of 9.64 million ringgit imposed on MyEG Commerce and MyEG Services by the Malaysia Competition Commission. The fine was for violating competition law and having a dominant position in relation to the sale of mandatory insurance for online applications of temporary employment permits for foreign workers. The 3-member bench, led by Justice Datuk Muhammad Zabidin Muhammad Diah, dismissed the 2 companies' appeal for leave to have a full hearing of the merits of their appeal. This was after it ruled there was no error and misdirection that warranted the appellate court's intervention. Additionally, the financial daily penalty imposed by MyCC was not manifestly excessive. Justice Zabidin ordered MyEG to pay 20,000 ringgit in costs to the regulator. The companies were required to pay 2.27 million ringgit in 2017, 4.14 million ringgit in 2018, and 3.23 million ringgit in 2019, which came up to 9.64 million ringgit in total. They have already paid the amount.